Yes.
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 Okay, well, let's get started then. Thanks to the club. Thanks to Mary Ann for having me back. Happy holidays to all and Merry Christmas to all of you. And tonight also a happy Hanukkah to all of you. My area of interest in stamp collecting is synagogues, that's Jewish houses of worship on stamps, and by extension, Jewish ritual items that are found in a synagogue and Jewish holidays or festivals that are celebrated in a synagogue. I was prompted to put together this presentation and also an upcoming article that covers much the same ground in the Israel Philatelist magazine, because for the first time ever, both the United States and Canada issued Hanukkah stamps this year. Also, like you, perhaps I had some extra time on my hands thanks to the coronavirus. So let's start off with the 2020 U.S. Hanukkah stamp. The 2020 U.S. Hanukkah stamp, which features a colorful graphic by an illustrator named Jing Jing Song, is the seventh new design since the first Hanukkah stamp issued in 1996. And it differs from its predecessors in that it incorporates images of children, at least the back of the heads of some children. But because of this, it is arguably the most appropriate of all the designs, because it is largely thanks to a group of California kindergartners that the U.S. Postal Service made the decision to issue Hanukkah stamps in the first place. 34 years rather, after the U.S. issued its first Christmas stamp in 1962, the 350 students at the Kadima Hebrew Academy in Woodland Hills, California, began a letter writing campaign to their U.S. congressional representatives to persuade the Postal Service to issue a Hanukkah stamp. Here are some of the cute kids at Kadima. There we go. Here are some of the cute kids at Kadima. This is a contemporary photo, not the kids from 1996, but they are cute. Over the years, American Jews had complained that they had no stamp to mark their own winter holiday, and the Postal Service had received numerous suggestions for Hanukkah stamps. But it was the lobbying by the young day school students that struck a chord with Postmaster General Marvin Runyon, who wrote them, "I think your idea is a good one. I am happy to tell you that the Postal Service will be issuing a Hanukkah stamp this year." That was 1996. In fact, the USPS would hold two unveilings for the new stamp. The first one at the B'nai B'rith Klutznick National Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. And here you see a first day cover from that unveiling. What was unusual about the first Hanukkah stamp was that there was a second stamp dedication at the Kadima Hebrew Academy. A mobile Hanukkah stamp station was set up at the school, and a special commemorative cancellation was affixed there for one day only, October 23rd, 1996, the second day of issue. Since the mobile station existed for just one day, these envelopes are extremely rare. The only one I and two other researchers have been able to find is this example, which is actually from Kadima Academy itself. It's framed. It is on the wall at the Kadima Academy. If you get the American Philatelist magazine, I'm sure many of you do, two of my friends, Greg Phillipson and Irv Osterer, have written an article in this month's edition about the history of these Hanukkah stamp stations, these mobile stamp stations, because although this was the first, it's been done many times over the years. So take a look at that in American Philatelist if you get a chance. To make the first issue even more special, the first U.S. Hanukkah stamp became the country's first joint issue with Israel. It was also Israel's first self-adhesive stamp and America's first to recognize a Jewish holiday. We want to point out on this slide an unusual feature of Israeli stamps. I think most of you collectors know. Israeli stamps have the tabs or labels on the bottom. Israel is the only country that regularly issues all of its stamps with tabs. They are essential to the stamp's value to collectors. They typically add some information to the stamp. And in this case, the tab has some dreidels on the bottom. We'll get to dreidels in a little while. But also in the black box is the Hebrew phrase, in Hebrew, Nes Gadol Haya Po. which means a great miracle happened here. It's a kind of slogan of Hanukkah. If you live in Israel, a great miracle happened here. The stamp was created by an American graphic designer named Hannah Smotrich, and it featured these 9 colorful Hanukkah candles, each that represent the 8 nights of the holiday. And the 9th candle in the middle, it's called the Shamash, lights the others. Smotrich's goal, she said, was to emphasize the upbeat nature of a playful, joyous holiday. Tomorrow night, December 10th, Jewish families all over the world will light the first candle of their 9-branched menorah, which we call a Hanukkah, to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah. It's considered a minor holiday in Judaism, but it has nevertheless become one of the 2 most widely observed holidays with Passover for Jewish Americans. There are several reasons. First and foremost, Hanukkah is a celebration of religious freedom, and this is the guy considered the key figure in the Hanukkah story. Judah Maccabee, to most Americans, although this 1961 Israeli stamp calls him by an alternate name and spelling, Judas Maccabee. Judas Maccabee was a Jewish priest who led a Jewish revolt against the Greek Seleucid Empire. The empire had issued decrees forbidding Jewish religious practice and had defiled the temple, the center of Jewish worship in Jerusalem, with idols of the Greek gods. The word Hanukkah means dedication, and the holiday commemorates the dedication or the restoration of Jewish worship at the Second Temple in Jerusalem in 164 BC, after Judah Maccabee removed all the statues of Greek gods and goddesses and purified the synagogue, the sanctuary. Part of that restoration was to relight the menorah in the sanctuary, which was supposed to burn all night, every night. And the story goes that although there was only enough oil to burn for 1 night on hand, the oil burned for 8 nights until more for the lamp could be found. A miracle that explains why there are 8 nights of Hanukkah. If you look at the figure of Maccabee, you'll note his shield has a menorah on it, and he is carrying a jug that would have held the oil. There are a couple of other reasons why Hanukkah is so popular: the festive music, food, and games associated with the holiday, and its proximity in the calendar to Christmas. Just a brief sidebar on the use of the word menorah as opposed to Hanukkah. You'll hear me use the word Hanukkah, and probably all of you know this thing as a menorah. Well, a Hanukkah is a type of menorah. Most people, when they talk about the lamp, call it a menorah, which is not incorrect. But as I said, I call it a Hanukkah because that is the name for a menorah specific to the holiday Hanukkah. The menorah itself shows up on many Israeli stamps because it is the national symbol of Israel. That symbol is a 7-candle menorah. You see 7 candles there. Why 7 candles? One explanation is that the 7 candles represent the 7 days in Genesis that it took God to create the world. This Israeli sheet from 2018, which includes 3 octagonal stamps, was issued to show the consistency of the menorah's design from its days in the First Temple to today as the national symbol of Israel. One more note: the ancient menorahs used burned oil. Of course, our modern ones use candles. This is probably my favorite stamp of a menorah. The cactus from Mexico, issued to mark 100 years of a Jewish presence in Mexico, and the cactus in the shape of a menorah. Hanukkah is by far the most popular Jewish holiday pictured on postage stamps around the world. In addition to Israel and the United States, 9 countries have issued stamps that have a connection to Hanukkah. The Hanukkah is the most popular subject, but some stamps feature the spinning tops called dreidels, or family gatherings, or the jelly-filled donuts that you see in the picture there, that are known as sufganiyot. That's a Hebrew word, sufganiyot. Those are enjoyed during the holiday. A few stamps feature non-Jewish holidays, which I'll show you: Christmas, Diwali, and Ramadan, along with Hanukkah. The earliest Hanukkah-related stamp set comes appropriately from Israel, but confirms that the holiday has been celebrated throughout the world. Issued in 1972, it depicts Hanukkot, that's the plural of Hanukkah, Hanukkot, from three, from 3 countries and 3 centuries. There are brass lamps from 18th and 19th century Morocco and Poland, and a silver one from 17th century Germany. The actual Hanukkot are in the collection of the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. In 1984, to mark the reopening of the Jewish Museum in Budapest, Hungary issued a set of 7 stamps from the museum's collection, one depicting this jeweled Hanukkah. It's a 19th century artifact from Warsaw, Poland, actually, that was hidden from the Nazis during World War II. Hanukkot have been the subject of most of the US stamps issued for the holiday. The original 32 cents 1996 stamp, which we talked about earlier, it was reissued with new values 3 times, 33 cents in 1999, 34 cents in 2001, and 37 cents in 2002. Contemporary Hanukkah lamps, Hanukkot, with their 9 candles aglow, were also the subject of later US issues in 2009, 2013, and in 2016. The one in the center is a photograph of a Hanukkah created by a blacksmith in Vermont. And the one on the right, you can take a look, is positioned in front of a window with snow on the tree limbs outside. Could have been shot in Wisconsin or upstate New York, I would think. In 2018, the US and Israel released another joint issue, just a gorgeous issue in my view, stamps in green and purple that feature an ornate Hanukkah created with paper cut, which is a traditional Jewish folk art technique using a fine blade. The background, if you take a look at the background, see a purple background, that recalls an ancient jug that would have held the oil that burned for 8 days and nights when the temple was rededicated. That's the, as we were saying before, the miracle of the Hanukkah story. The most ambitious of all Hanukkah issues is an 8-stamp Israeli set released over 7 years from 1993 to 1999. Most of the stamps depict Hanukkah lamps, starting with an oil lamp from the Talmudic period, that's 70 to 640 AD, from the collection of the University of Haifa Heck Museum, that's in the upper left-hand corner. The series concluded in the bottom right-hand corner in 1999 with a Hanukkah entitled Mattathias the Hasmonean. It's created by a sculptor named Boris Schatz, who founded a very famous Academy of Arts and Design in Jerusalem, the Bezalel Academy. Mattathias was a Jewish priest who was the patriarch of the Maccabee family, the father of Judah Maccabee, who we met earlier. It's a beautiful set, and some of the additional stamps I'd like to point out briefly include the one on the bottom left. That is a folding Hanukkah lamp from the Łódź ghetto in Poland from World War II. That's at the collection at Yad Vashem, that is the site that commemorates the Holocaust in Israel. Next to it is a coin from the Bar Kokhba War, and next to it is a beautiful dreidel. Sorry about this cough. A similar issue of 8 stamps comes to us from the Marshall Islands. That's an unusual place to issue a Hanukkah stamp. It has fewer than 20 Jews among a population of 58,000, apparently. But there you see, it's an artist named Paul Williams has imagined 8 different Hanukkot representing the 8 nights of the holiday. The Israel Museum houses the largest collection of Hanukkah lamps in the world, so it comes as no surprise that one of the stamps Israel issued in 2015 to commemorate the museum's 50th anniversary features a magnificent 18th century Hanukkah from Eastern Europe. Those of you who collect Christmas stamps, and there are probably a few folks on the call tonight, you know that Philatelically considered Canada's 1898 imperial penny issue to be the world's first Christmas stamp. It would take another 119 years before our neighbors to the north in Canada would issue their first Hanukkah stamp.
Thank you.
That is on the left. It features a striking, stylized blue and yellow design of a Hanukkah with a golden Star of David elevated at its center. Its strong contrast between light and dark creates the appearance of flickering flames. Canada's first Hanukkah stamp was surrounded by controversy over the booklet that held the stamps. I want you to take a look at the booklet cover. That's the image in the middle. That was the original booklet cover. Features a yellow star separated from the rest of the menorah, the Hanukkah. Now, many folks who saw this cover felt it suggested the yellow Star of David that Jews were required to wear in Nazi Germany. The booklet was quickly recalled and revised, also a first day cover with that same yellow star design. And the reissued booklet cover came out, was on the right. There was never anything wrong with the stamp itself, but there was a big commotion about that booklet cover in the middle. Canada's second Hanukkah stamp successfully avoided controversy. It featured a brightly lit Hanukkah lamp against a background that transitions from purple at the top to dark red at the bottom. It was issued in 2019. Now, for its third Hanukkah stamp, issued just last month on November 5th, 2020, Canada has again chosen a stylized, fully lit Hanukkah, this time in front of a bright yellow background. Shadowing behind the lamp gives depth to the design. The official first day cover is on the right. In 2012, India and Israel marked 20 years of full diplomatic relations with a two-stamp joint issue that celebrates Hanukkah and the joyous Hindu holiday Diwali. Both are known in their country as the
Festival of Lights.
Thank you. Festival of Lights. And each nation issued one stamp depicting a wooden Hanukkah used by the Jewish community in Mumbai, and one stamp with a row of 5 oil lamps lit to symbolize the 5 days of Diwali. The word Diwali means a row of lamps in Sanskrit. So that was a very interesting issue, joint issue by the two countries. At least 2 stamps have no direct connection to Hanukkah, but feature Hanukkot, as opposed to 7 candle menorahs in their artwork. In 2008, Belgium issued a single stamp to mark the bicentennial of its Central Jewish Consistory. That's the body governing the country's Jewish congregations. The stamp features a traditional 9-branched Hanukkah lamp, as you can see. And Croatia issued a beautiful Hanukkah included a beautiful Hanukkah in a 2006 stamp issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Zagreb's Jewish community. The lamp is paired with a photo of Zagreb's Grand Synagogue, which you can see at the top there. That is no longer, hasn't been there for many, many years. It was demolished in 1941 by Croatia's Ustasha regime, which was an ally of the Nazis. But that's how Croatia chose to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the Jewish community in Zagreb. Israel's 2014 Hanukkah stamp features a whimsical graphic of a colorfully attired boy and girl admiring a flickering, fully lit Hanukkah lamp. But it is the artwork on the tab that grabs our attention. It's a bowl of what I was talking about before, sufganiyot. It's we would call it a jelly donut, and it's basically a jelly donut, but it's the favored fried jelly donut dessert of the holiday. It is traditional to eat foods fried in oil during the holiday because of the oil in the Hanukkah, the oil in the lamp, or the oil in the menorah. So it's typical to eat foods fried in oil during the holiday, which attests to the sufganiyot, but also it attests to another Hanukkah staple, which hasn't shown up on the stamp yet, but that's a staple you may know, the potato pancakes known as latkes that you have heard about or may have eaten during Hanukkah. Gift giving is a regular feature of both Hanukkah and Christmas. And in 2003, the South American nation of Guyana found a charming way to tie together both holidays on a souvenir sheet called Winter Bears that also commemorates the 100th anniversary of teddy bears. If anybody on the call collects teddy bears. German designer Richard Stieff exhibited the first teddy bears at the Leipzig Toy Fair in 1903. There are 4 stamps on the sheet, each with a teddy bear behind a dollhouse door with trappings of either Hanukkah or Christmas. You can see the Christmas ones in position 1 and position 3. I just reference the 2 that deal with Hanukkah. One Hanukkah bear, the second from the left, holds a Hanukkah and wears a bow tie with a Star of David on it. Have to look real closely, but there it is. The Hanukkah girl bear on the far right sports a blue and silver dress and a Star of David pendant. And much as red and green are the colors of Christmas, blue and silver tend to be the colors of Hanukkah. The city of Haifa, Israel, has combined its public celebrations of Hanukkah, Christmas, and Ramadan into the 4-weekend Holiday of Holidays festival in December. It includes art exhibits, outdoor fairs, walking tours of the city, and street performances. Perhaps not this year because of the coronavirus, but typically that's what goes on. A 2013 Israeli issue celebrated the 20th anniversary of this event, billed as a multicultural celebration of the neighborly relations that exist within Haifa's diverse population. Now, the stamp, look closely, the stamp features a Hanukkah, the yellow candles. It also features a Christmas tree. Those are the green leaves at the bottom and near the top. And in the center, that lamp is a Fanos lamp, which is a symbol of Ramadan. F-A-N-O-U-S, a Fanos lamp, which is a symbol of Ramadan. Now let's talk a little about dreidels. They are the 4-sided spinning tops used in a popular Hanukkah game. They're also frequent subjects of the holiday stamps. 2 of the US issues have featured them. The 37-cent stamp featured a photo of an ornate dreidel this is 2004. And it was reissued with new denominations 3 times, 39 cents in 2006, 41 cents in 2007, and 42 cents in 2008. The artwork is actually a photo of a dreidel purchased in Israel, a real dreidel, depicting buildings in Jerusalem's Jewish quarter. A stylized dreidel was also included in the clever 2011 US Hanukkah issue. The stamp is composed of colorful boxes with the letters that spell out the word Hanukkah, the second K in the shape of a dreidel. This stamp, with the 4th unique US Hanukkah design, was the first that carried a forever non-denominational designation. The first class rate then was 44 cents. That's 2011. And as you guys and gals all know, it's 55 cents today. It's 44 cents in 2011. If there are any Disney collectors out there, you should be delighted with the 1996 Grenada Grenadines Disney holiday set that recognizes Hanukkah. It features a young Huey and Dewey duck spinning a dreidel. The dreidel is not a traditional one with Hebrew letters on it, though. It says Happy Holidays in English. The stamp was part of a set that celebrated many worldwide holidays. While Hanukkah lighting ceremonies are held each year in America's town squares and synagogues, Hanukkah remains a holiday most often celebrated at home with family. Several stamps show us this aspect of Hanukkah. The painting Hanukkah by German artist Moritz D. Oppenheim is on a 1975 Israeli stamp. It depicts a large family celebrating the holiday, parents and grandparents lighting candles on the left there, and playing parlor games with the young children. If you look closely, I don't know if there are any chess stamp collectors in the group tonight, but you look closely and you'll see the men are playing chess at that table on the right in the foreground. The oil painting itself hangs in the Israel Museum. A series issued by Guyana in 1995 depicts holidays around the world, including a stamp featuring children in Israel lighting a Hanukkah a Hanukkah candle. And a 2009 stamp from the Netherlands Antilles gives us a good overview of Hanukkah, including several of the symbols we've covered already associated with the holiday. You have a family of 4 lighting the Hanukkah on the 8th night of Hanukkah. You have a blue and gold dreidel and left bottom there. And on the right, we haven't discussed this before, but those are chocolate coins that are in foil They're called Gelt, G-E-L-T, chocolate coins inscribed with stars of David. They're often used as stakes in the game of dreidel, where people bet coins or chocolate coins. Now, one final stamp, which is in my Hanukkah collection, might surprise you, should be in everyone's Hanukkah topical collection, and I'll explain why, but I know it is going to surprise you. It is from the 1998 folk musician set, the US folk musician set, and it features Woody Guthrie on his guitar. As I'm sure most of you know, Guthrie was one of America's greatest folk singers. Many of his songs dealt with the plight of workers, the importance of unionization, and if nothing else, you know him as the lyricist to the song, "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land." Woody Guthrie wrote the lyrics to that. Now, Guthrie was not Jewish, but his second wife, Marjorie Greenblatt, was, as were the couple's 4 children, including the folk singer Arlo Guthrie, who you probably have heard of, who is now 73 years old and just announced in October his retirement from concert touring, Arlo Guthrie. Marjorie's mother was a well-respected Yiddish poet and songwriter, Eliza Greenblatt. And through his connection to Eliza, Woody Guthrie became better acquainted with Judaism, studying Jewish texts and history. In the late 1940s, Guthrie wrote a handful of Hanukkah-related songs, some for the local Jewish community and some for his children. The themes of the songs range from joyous children's songs to those that express the rituals and history of Hanukkah. Guthrie never recorded the songs, but in 2006, the Klezmatics, which is an American klezmer music group, adapted the songs and released an album of them entitled Woody Guthrie's Happy Joyous Hanukkah. I'm going to play a little, just half a minute or a minute or so of the title song for you to prove that a stamp of Woody Guthrie should be included in your Hanukkah, or at least my Hanukkah stamp collection. Let's see if this works.
How many nights for Hanukkah? Happy joyous Hanukkah. Nights and days, days and nights. Happy joyous Hanukkah. Hey to the nights of Hanukkah. Happy joyous Hanukkah. Hey to the days and hey to the nights. Happy joyous Hanukkah. How many candles do I light? Happy joyous Hanukkah. 8 are the candles you should light for happy joyous Hanukkah. Hey to the nights of Hanukkah. Happy joyous Hanukkah. Hey to the days and hey to the nights. Happy joyous Hanukkah.
And it goes on and on. But anyway, the Hebrew greeting for Hanukkah is Hanukkah Sameach, which means happy Hanukkah. And so that is what I wish to all of you, a Hanukkah Sameach, as well as happy holidays for whatever you're celebrating. So thank you. Back to you, Mary.